Hello. Good morning, everyone. So welcome, everyone. We are an open, loving, inclusive spiritual community, and we welcome you. And so is there anyone here for the first time today? Raise your hand. We have a gift for you. There's a gift for you that Mary will be passing out and Chris will be passing out. So in that envelope, or that purple envelope, is a Science of Mind magazine, but there's also a coupon in there for you. There's two, at least two or three I see, okay. And then redeem the free book in the bookstore for you. And so now I'm going to turn this over to our wonderful music team.
Good morning, Center for Spiritual League St. George. I have wonderful helpers here. I've got Marina and Cody, and we are all excited to be here today and grateful to be able to sing for you. I bow to the divine in you. I feel your light, see it shining through. I am grateful you are here today. Good morning, friend, namaste. I bow to the joy in you. I feel your bliss, see it shining through. I am grateful you are here today. Good morning, friend, namaste. I bow to the love in you. I feel your heart, see it shining through. I am grateful you are here today. Good morning, friend, namaste. I bow to the truth in you. I feel your spark, see it shining through. I am grateful you are here today. Good morning, friend, namaste. Good morning, all. Namaste. Good morning, everybody.
Just take a minute to meet someone new. All right, shake a hand, get a hug, make a new friend. So I know we have some new friends here. Let's do that.
I know.
Hello, how are you?
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can hear the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of joy is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of joy is in this place.
I acknowledge there is one constant presence as I turn within and tap into that indwelling presence. One force encompassing everything that is in existence. One energy from which all things are made. I recognize this as truth. There is nothing that exists outside this one presence. As I breathe in, the grace of God permeates all my cells, feeds me to the core of my being. There is no place that God is not. It moves itself throughout all creation. Having recognized the magnificent and awesome power of the one presence that is all absolutely everywhere within the universe, I realize that this same intelligence that created everything does not stop being where I am. Therefore, it is within me. I am one with this presence. I am a divine being made of God energy, having this incredible human experience. As I know this is true for me, I know it is true for everyone here on this beautiful spring morning. There's nothing outside this one. I consciously align myself with this indwelling presence each moment as I continually cherish that which is within me. There is no better means of developing my inner life than by continually beginning again each day, each moment, and each minute. This is what staying present moment means to me. And so, as we embark on today's journey with Sharon Shores' message of developing our inner life, open your loving heart and listen with new awarenesses of creating spiritual integrity in your life. So I bless and thank all those who are here today, all those who give up their time to create this environment each week. Blessings to Reverend Laura, to all of our teachers and students who demonstrate a strong quest for knowledge of our principles and philosophy. And so it is. So it is.
I'd like to affirm these words with us. They will be on the board. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. So one of the main taglines sort of in Science of Mind is change your thinking, change your life. Right? That's what we believe. Lies, mind, and action. Right? As we believe it, so it is. Science of Mind actually says we must believe. On this hangs all... Okay, I didn't write that down. On this hangs all the law and the prophets. Heaven and hell are tied up in man's beliefs. It is the law of his life. How much power we have in what we believe, what we decide is true, and how that comes to fruition in our lives. Paul McCartney speaks of a dream that he had when his mother, whose name is Mary, came to him in a dream and said to him, "Let it be. It's going to be fine. Just let it be." And from that dream, from that encounter and that inspiration came the most beautiful song that the Beatles made famous, called "Let It Be," which we'd like to share with you today.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
Woo! That was great. Thank you. That was beautiful. So the topic for this month has been spiritual integrity and leaning toward developing our inner life. I decided to do this from a comfortable chair today rather than from behind the podium. You know, and one of these days I'll be able to speak extemporaneously like Reverend Laura does, but until then I've got my notes. All right. So Ernest Holmes in Science of Mind says, a change of consciousness does not come from simply willing or wishing. It is not easy to hold the mental intention to an ideal while human experience is discordant. You know, it is possible, however, knowing the truth. And you notice I put the words knowing, Knowing, and the truth in capital letters. All right? And it is not a process of self-hypnosis, but one of gradual unfoldment of the inner self. And it's gradual. It doesn't happen overnight. We don't become spiritually enlightened or become all of a sudden we're in 100% spiritual integrity all the time in our lives. I believe that we walk that path every single day of our life, and every single choice we make, we have that opportunity to develop our inner spirituality. So Ernest Holmes also taught us that permanent happiness could only come from an inner sense of certainty that cannot be shaken. Can you imagine having an inner sense of certainty that can never be shaken, no matter what? No matter what you're experiencing, no matter what's happening out there in the outside world. Science of Mind teaches us that when we focus on an inward vision of this indwelling harmony, and as we contemplate its perfection, we will see it manifest in everything we do, and we find ourselves renewed by the divine life, led by divine intelligence, and guided by divine love. You know, the core of our spirit that every one of us is actually love. You know, at the essence of the being of who we are is love. If we can understand and define love subjectively, like any other term, we actually experience love that is more conditional. But the love that I'm talking about is the unconditional love. Love that nurtures, honors, and does not impose or impede upon the will of another. It's also internal, and it starts inside each one of us. If we don't love ourselves, if we don't honor ourselves and respect ourselves, how can we really honor and respect another person? So when we're looking at that from an internal perspective, our internal is always reflected out there into the external, whether or not we like it or not. So if we're looking at people that are attracted into our lives or circumstances or situations, they are attracted actually from our internal being, not something that is happening to us, but something that is happening through us. And Michael Beckwith talks about that, talks about the victim consciousness, talks about things happening through us as divine beings. So love is a state of being, not doing. We can say in all sorts of things to appear loving to ourselves and to others, but if it's not coming from a state of love at the being level, at the essence of being love with each other, it's only an imitation of love. The more connected one is, and the more love one expresses universally, the more spirituality that's embodied at the core of your being, the core of your being, and the core of my being. I'm not speaking to you, I'm also speaking this message to me, because it's a reminder to me also. The CSL Global Vision states we express wholeness, honesty, and fairness in all of our relationships and activity. And I'll talk about that definition of wholeness. And as you know, in our call for our minister, one of the definitions was a call for wholeness. And we have that in our calling for our Reverend Laura, who's here at our congregation. So our biggest areas to truly understand spirituality is to know that there's a big difference. I think there's a huge gap between thinking about spirituality and actually being it and doing it and putting it into action. Now, I can read all the spiritual books, I can get a guru, I can talk to a person, get advice, whatever. But if I'm just thinking it at the intellectual level, and I've not gotten it into my heart, into the soul of who I'm being, then it's just basically, it's useless. It really is, because unless I've moved it from my head to my heart, to the essence of who I am as a person, to how I treat people when I'm walking down the street or the interactions that I have in life, to me that means spiritual integrity. I'm in alignment then with the divine being that I am, and in alignment with how I live my life. We all know that I grew up Methodist, okay? So I went from Methodist to Unitarian to Unity to Science of Mind. So I've come full circle in a sense. Now I know that the teachings of Jesus were meant to be interpreted from a metaphysical level rather than from an actual verbal or literal level, okay? So I take those teachings and I say, what is the metaphysical meaning of that? And for me, that's been part of my spiritual development, is to look at those teachings and look at even the Unitarian Universalist teachings and say, how can I apply some of that in my life? You know, so I think we all come from our own perspective. We come from our own background. I'm seeing heads shaking out there, yes. Our own religions, our own perceptions, and we all see the world in a different way. But just because we see it in a different way doesn't mean that it's a wrong way. Doesn't necessarily mean that, you know. And to seek the understanding is also part of what I consider spiritual integrity. How can I seek understanding with another person's way of seeing things? And perhaps their background was filled with all kinds of biases, prejudiceness, or whatever. That doesn't make them wrong. It just makes, you know, it's a bridge that we can build to say, okay, what's the commonality between us? So much today is about us versus them, you versus me, versus how are we all in this together. So for me, spiritual integrity means that I can find that common ground with other people. So you can go to church every Sunday, which a lot of people do, and we practice. I used to practice Sunday spiritual integrity, okay, but not 7 day a week, 24-hour a day. All right, if you had, you know, many years ago, you know, it was a different story, and I'm sure all of us have a different story many years ago. All right, so we're all evolving. And I think giving grace and ease is so important, not just to people out there, but also to yourself. Giving grace and ease is also required for yourself. You know, don't beat yourself up, you know, about some judgments you've made or the past, or mistakes and things like that. So spirituality is neither instant magic, nor is it a laborious quest. It is with all things that we choose to make of it. This includes we allow ourselves to express and what we are ready to experience. So we express what we have experienced in life, and keep that in mind when someone is upset. They may be reacting from something that happened at 8 o'clock in the morning, or even a week ago, a month ago, or 10 years ago, or it could have been many years ago. You know, I really believe that spirituality is lived and embodied. We are spirit at the core of our being. We are always connected. And what we do, however, in this life, sometimes our experience is a block to the connection to the divine. And it's we that put up those blocks, and that we that form those illusions and limits that we put upon ourselves, you know. And so sometimes it's necessary to take a spiritual journey. That spiritual journey may look different for each one of us. For me, it's a spiritual journey every single morning when I go into meditation and prayer. Meditation and prayer are an integral part of my life every single day. And there are some days it's more than just in the morning. You know, sometimes there are days when it has to be in the afternoon and also in the evening. You know, so it's a spiritual development, a spiritual awareness is what I call it. And so ask yourself, what are you choosing every single moment? What am I choosing every single moment? Do I choose joy? Do I choose peace? Or do I choose conflict? What is it that I'm choosing? Do I choose heart-centered thoughts, words, and actions? Or do I choose behavior that is out of alignment with the highest expressions of love and peace? So Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines integrity as the quality of being honest and fair. And there's another definition. It's the state of being complete or whole. So I like that statement for the definition of integrity, the state of being complete or whole. While it is essential to be honest with ourselves in any spiritual undertaking, I believe it is in the second definition that we get the most benefit for the understanding of what spiritual integrity is and what is developing our inner self or our inner journey in our journey of spiritual integrity. All of us, Every single one of us are a work in process. You know, think about it. If every one of us were complete or whole, why would we need to compete for attention? Why would we need affection from others? Or why would we compete for anything, in fact, if we were actually complete and whole? So if we were complete and whole, we don't need anything from the outside to make us feel complete and whole. So in that essence, every single one of us are a work in process. And if we were complete and whole, we wouldn't react from fear. We would react from love. So hopefully, something that I've said can help take away some of it, give some reflection. Because even in the process of doing this sermon today, I was self-reflecting and reflecting about spiritual integrity. How do I actually shine it out into my world? How do I act for my spiritual integrity? I can't decide how you will, and you can't decide how I will. You know, each and every one of us have our own path to follow. So labeling ourselves or any other person as, quote, spiritual, okay, is no reflection of the truth. It's just a perception that you've gained, okay? I'm no more spiritual than the homeless person on the street. It's just a perception or a judgment. I have no idea what path that person has walked. I have no idea. True spirituality is lived and embodied, how we act and respond to ourselves, other, to nature, and all life. And we should never be concerned with how spiritual or not spiritual others are, but focus only on one person, and that is ourselves. To focus on ourselves. This is where the rubber meets the road, but unless and until we attain some profound level of telepathic communication, we will never know what's in the mind and heart of another. Okay? Besides, this is my journey, this is your journey, so let's focus on ourselves. The deeper you go, the more perspective you gain, and the more connected you become. And the more you strengthen your connection, the more complete you will be to yourself, and the more your life will become a living testament of love, joy, and peace. So, Bible verse, there's a Bible verse that I love, and, Ernest Holmes does quote the Bible quite frequently in Science of Mind. He says, "Do not be conformed to the pattern of this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And so with the meditation, with prayer that I do in the morning, it's renewing my mind. It's actually connecting to the divine truth of who I am, to connecting to the divine truth of who everyone else is. So when we do that, and we think about this, instead of thinking about ourselves in isolation, let's think about the divine mind that is so expansive, as we say in Science of Mind, omnipotent, omnipotent, all-powerful, all-knowing, always present, okay? Always present, everywhere, no matter what. So what we do to one, what we do to ourselves, we are actually doing to another. And what we do to another, we're doing to ourselves. So there is a connection, whether that be, somebody you dislike or someone you love. We're always connected. So I asked myself, okay, what did I do in developing my spiritual growth? And I delved deep. So I was probably, I would say 15 years old. And I started delving deep, all right? And there was a reason for that. I was trying to figure out the dysfunctional family, okay? Which many of you have been there, done that, okay? And I started studying everything I could get my hands on. Started studying everything. And then I started asking questions. But my level of awareness started to come up a little bit higher. The awareness of the dynamics that was not only what's going on within myself, but also was going on not only in my family, but also the community. So, and when I say the community, when you think about everything that's going on in the world, it all appears chaotic, okay? But there's a reason for some of these things, you know, and I think it starts from the inner. So I went from there to finding from there. I told you I grew up Methodist. Then I found Unitarian Universalist. All right, love that congregation also. Kept my spiritual studies up. Found Unity in Honolulu, Hawaii, and at that time there were 3 classes for practitioner training, and found Unity, and then that was Unity, and then found Science of Mind, and that was the one that had the 3 classes for practitioner training. All along, I'm studying everything from Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind, Emmett Fox, Joseph Murphy, Christian Larson, Judge Troward, okay, all of the great thinkers you could ever think of, studying this thing called life, as Ernest Holmes would put it. It's been a process. It's been a process of taking off the layers, peeling the layers, and getting down to the essence. And I would encourage everyone to do that. But there are some things that were common in all of that. One of them was take right action. Before taking action, determine your options, what feels right to you. Not only what feels right to you, but also, is it aligned with your spiritual values and your spiritual morals? Does it harm yourself or another, or does it help? Ask those questions, okay? Act and ask for the highest good, honor, and respect for all life, and be in high service to others. So that's number 1, take right action. Walk the talk. If you are a practitioner or an individual giving advice to others, practice what you preach, and take a look at, am I practicing what I'm preaching? Am I living in accordance with the life philosophy that I want to impart to others? Do I take my own advice? All right. Am I a shining example of the outcome that I promise to others? Take responsibility. Own the decisions you make and the actions you take, and look for the lessons in every experience. Understand your role in the situations and what choices can be made going forward. And stop complaining and blaming others for your circumstances. And if you're a person who loves to stir the pot, stop it. Okay? Just simply stop it. All right? Or if you're a person that wants to put on the boxing gloves, for every appearance of challenges that come, take the boxing gloves off. All right? Look at it from a different perspective. Consider looking at that person and say, maybe their perspective is different. How can I understand that? How can I understand that with them and to actually find that common ground? Connect to the divine. Connection to spirit is not about setting a time to meditate, going to your place of worship, or doing so only during prayer. It is a continuous connection day and night. Stay open and listen to divine guidance. Be in the state of being that spiritual person, not just simply thinking it and doing it, but actually let your essence develop that state of being that. So the other thing is, practice acceptance, suspend judgment. All paths are valid. Okay, differences among people do enrich the world. If someone is following a path that you disagree with, understand that it is their path, their life, and their way. And then accept their choices as part of their lessons in this lifetime, just as you make choices that are best for you. And what next one is to expand your heart. Find ways to lift up and open your heart for the betterment of yourself and others. Beaming love and high vibrational energy uplifts this world, elevates your own frequency, and helps others feel good in the process. And the last one there is practice gratitude. Being deeply grateful for everything in your life. And gratitude actually opens the door for us. I find that when I have gratitude for even the things that appear to be not so good, the doors open or the circumstances change. And in the Bible it says, in all things give thanks. It doesn't say in all good things give thanks. It says in all things give thanks. And when you're doing that, that brings you into, I think, alignment with all the goodness and all the greatness that is out there. All of the joy, all of the peace, everything. It opens those doors for you. So Socrates said, know thyself. The unexamined life is not worth living. You know, I examine my life almost every single day and say, what direction do I need to go? What do I need to change? How do I need to grow? It is self-reflection. It's not other reflection. You know, everyone has their own specific path that they're going down. You know, trust, honor, and love and respect that. And, you know, I think that in developing our inner self and developing our spirituality, you know, don't look to others, look to ourselves, you know, rather than making a judgment about how spiritual or unspiritual another person is. Just keep that focus on ourselves. So, wisdom, you know, who was it in the Bible? I think it was it King Solomon or David that asked for wisdom? One of them asked for wisdom, right?
King Solomon.
King Solomon asked for wisdom, okay? All right, and when you ask for wisdom, you start to get clarity about what is the wisdom that you're getting, okay? And then you get right direction. And that right direction, if you put them in those order, and you have the foundation for the basis for love. The basis for love for yourself, but also for others, all right? Then you're going to get some guidance in developing your inner spiritual life. So, Cervantes said, make it thy business to know thyself, which is the most difficult lesson in the world, okay, is to know thyself. You know, and so I hope I've left you today with a few things to think about, you know, and a way to consider developing your inner life, and consider some of those things Mary put in her meditation also. Contemplation, meditation, classes, prayer, all of those tools are great tools to start to develop and to deepen your inner life. You know, I encourage you, don't do spiritual surfing. Spiritual surfing is at the tip. You kind of just go through life with this. But spiritual deep diving is getting into those classes, getting into the prayer, getting into meditation, all of those things. So thank you. Thank you for the reminder, Cheryl. All right, so taking a deep breath, close your eyes. Stepping into this moment, I absolutely know that the divine is working through me in every aspect of my life. And as I open my heart and my mind to the guidance, wisdom, clarity, right direction, I am guided with joy, peace, and love. I speak this word, that as all of us do this, that love, joy, and peace will be permeated out there into the world in such a magnificent way that people will stand back in awe and absolute wonder at the joy of it all. I give thanks for this day, for this service, for everyone in this community, for the love and everything that is good and great. And together we say, and so it is.
And as we learn, what else did our mom tell us to do? She told us to share. Happiness is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Happiness is something if you give it away, then it comes right back to you. Oh, it's just like a magic penny. Hold on tight and you won't get any. Lend it, spend it, give it away, then it comes right back to you. What do you think, Marina? Hug is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Hug is something if you give
you, Cody.
Love is something if you give it away, give it away, you give it away. Love is something if you give it away, then it comes right back to you.
Oh, it's just like a magic penny. Hold on tight and you won't get any. Lend it, spend it, give it away, and it comes right back to you. All right, we don't have the words on the board, but I have a feeling you've got it, right? Happiness. Here we go. Happiness is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Happiness is something if you give it away, and it comes right back to you. Oh, it's just like a magic penny. Hold on tight and you won't get any. Lend it, spend it, give it away, and it comes right back to you. It'll come right back to you. It'll come right back to you.
All right, which brings us time for our offering. So if you hold your gift to your heart and just repeat after me. Divine love,
Divine love,
as me, blesses and multiplies
blesses and multiplies
all that I have,
all that I have,
all that I give,
all that I give,
and all that I circulate.
and all that I circulate.
And so it is.
And so it is.
All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy.
So thank you, Spirit, for all these gifts as we move out into this community with the love and the support, absolutely knowing that these gifts will be used for the functioning of this center, for spreading the word out beyond this community. I give thanks for these gifts. And thanks, Spirit, and so it is.
So it is. Sing along with us, all one.
All one, holy, holy. All one, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is one, holy, holy.
All in my mind.
All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is one, holy, holy.
So thank you. Thank you. So announcements. All right, so on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, there is a group that meets for hiking. So if you need more information about that, I believe you're in charge, right, Jackie? Jackie?
Jackie's over
Where's Jackie? Okay, Jackie over there, okay? All right. No, you're not in charge. You were on the picture. All right, so she has more information. All right, our new chair campaign. I think we have 19.44 chairs paid for, okay? All right, how do we get 0.44 chairs? I don't know, all right? But they're $45 each. Back on the table is a slip there, I believe it's pink, and it's about for the chair campaign. You just attach a check to it, and then bring it to us, bring it to one of the practitioners, or one of the ushers, and then we'll get that, make sure we get that, and then we're ordering 100 chairs. And these chairs are beautiful. They will be sold at some point, but the chairs that we're ordering can be stacked. They can fit more chairs in here than these current chairs do, but we really are grateful we've had these, okay? But it's time to move on to some new chairs. So starting this Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. is From Whence We Came, A History of New Thought. The prerequisite for that is you must have taken Foundations 101 or Beyond Limits. So if you've taken either one of those, you can actually join this class. Investment for the class is $250 or $200 if paid in full at the beginning of the class. Then starting on Tuesdays, May the 7th through the 28th, a 4-week class, the 5 levels of attachment. And the investment for that class is $80 if paid in full or $100 if by payment every single week. Okay. Science of Mind discussion group. Chris McCardle, Sue Fulmer, and Gwen Hadley will be discussing the Science of Mind group, or it is also known as What Did She Say on Sunday group. So if you have any questions about today's sermon, I'll be giving them a copy of that, and that's part of the discussion for Monday night. Book study of the month is Blind Spots, and that has to do with our biases that we hold, or our prejudices. And so that sounds like a great book study. That's on Wednesday, and that's for April. That's 2:30 till 4 p.m. And then Reverend Laura's office hours are Tuesday through Thursday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Yes, ma'am.
Our book of the month is now available in the bookstore for
Yes.
the next 2 months, so you can buy them there.
So you can buy that book. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, after service, be sure to check out the bookstore. Sue is in charge of the bookstore and has done such a wonderful job with that. There are some books that are for sale, and there are some books you can borrow and take, and there's, different books you can buy too, as well as unique gifts. There's a lot of great gifts in there too. After service, Mary will be available for personal prayer. Which room? This room? Okay, the room right behind me. All right, after service, coffee and goodies in the kitchen. All right, and feel free to bring any coffee and goodies during Sunday also. Our closing affirmation. All right, if we can stand. All right, repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me.
Something wonderful is happening to me.
It is this thing called life.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my finances.
Life is in my finances.
Life is in my relationships.
Life is in my relationships.
Life is in my work.
Life is in my work.
I think it.
I think it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
I accept it.
I accept it.
And I express it.
And I express it.
Just the way it is becoming.
Just the way it is
And
becoming.
so it is.
And so it is. It's a new day. Today it's a new life. My way